All right, welcome back to Watch Trading Academy, and today we're going to take a look at a very fundamental flaw in watch trading that people start with and make a biggest mistake at, is focusing on the big word, the R word, Rolex, in the world of watch trading and why that's a bad thing. That's right. I've said that trading the most popular watch brand in the world is a bad thing, and I'm about to tell you why. So there is a difference between being an actual jeweler or reseller, or basically learning to trade watches from home. And part of the difference is the volume and the ins and outs and access to a private network of buyers and sellers that enables speed in the market. So the more active you are, the more effective you are at trading watches, the larger your network of buyers and sellers, and the faster your ability to move a watch. So in the first, for example, 30 days after joining Watch Trading Academy, our students are able to basically move 2 to 3 watches a month. But after a year, the majority of our advanced students are able to move 20 to 30 watches a month and never fall into the problem of I bought the wrong watch. There's always an in and an out depending on the price you're getting in and of course the price you're getting out. But Rolex, on the other hand, is a little bit different, and I'm about to share with you why. I want you to understand that this is the depreciation graph, or the graph of a Hublot, which is a more conventional watch that we flip here at Watch Trading Academy, something that allows you to make a 2K margin fairly quickly. So if you're playing with 5 grand, 6 grand, you're gonna be able to make 2 grand fairly quickly. And then a Rolex that could make you technically the same amount of money, a 2K margin if it's an entry level one, or it could be even higher, but it's going to be a little bit different, and I want to show you why. So you see with the Hublot watches, once they come out with their MSRP, they drop here to kind of their bottom number, and they kind of stay steady in the mix. So if we look at, this is the wholesale graph, we look at the retail graph, it kind of follows along. This is basically where your 2K margin lies and your ability to make money. On Rolex, however, the markets constantly change. So if it started here, it would typically go up, it would go down, it would hold, it would go way up, way down, etc. So this inability means that you have much smaller time frames to make a decision on if you're selling, buying, and at what levels and at what losses. Because you could be buying here at the peak and then the market would go down, and you could be buying at the bottom and the market would go up. So you could go up, go down, and make more money or less money, but the market would be constantly changing, forcing you to have the capacity to move in and out of watches much faster, or you would basically have your money tied in the watch much longer. Now, if you're a conventional trader and are basically buying a watch, enjoying it for like a year or 6 months, and saying, hey, historically it will go up, then Rolex might be a decent bet if you can buy right here at MSRP. However, if you're in the business of actually making money, you want to be buying predictable watches that have these numbers already established so that you can turn your margin time and time again, and time is on your side. And I know this is bizarre, but it's not a pun here, because one of the most beautiful aspects of trading watches or investing in watches as it pertains to Watch Trading Academy is buying investments that are not impacted by time. Historically, if we take a look, for example, at the cars that we buy, when a car is older, it is worth less, right? Meaning, like, once a car goes into being 2 years old, well, a newer model is worth more than an older one, and depreciation sets phase. Once the original Hublot takes its original depreciation, it does not depreciate any further than that, and that is how manufacturers beat us, by adding price increases every few years, forcing the MSRP up. So even at its lowest point, the older watch is still, again, worth the same, even though the newer watch is worth more. A very different dynamic, and much, much different than the constant market increases and rises of Rolex, which again are significantly different. So one of the recommendations here is, if you're starting the game of watches and are going to be learning how to do this, it is very important to understand to not jump on too early and get in the Rolex game without learning how to trade the rest. I've have this proprietary strategy here at Watch Trading Academy that teaches my students exactly how to do this. But one of the things I teach them in this whole training, if you don't have access to it, click the link in the description and sign up. But what I teach people is the ability to understand that if you can learn to trade the harder watches, the Ulysse Nardin, the Hublots, the Tudors, the watches that aren't as popular that everybody's looking for, you are not going to immerse yourself in a world of jewelers and fuckboys too early with an inability to actually learn the game. So this is a really good place, very simple, safe place to learn the game. This is a very cutthroat, crazy environment filled with dipshits like out there to get you and get your money, and you don't want to play here until you're basically ready to get into the Shark Tank, right? Instead, you want to play here because the majority of them ignore Hublot, they ignore Ulysse Nardin, they ignore Tudor, Cartier and stuff because those aren't the most popular for them and they don't do well with it. Instead, they focus on the Rolex, Patek, AP and RM, which is a very good market once you get good at, but in due time. So if you're just starting in your watch trading journey, I couldn't recommend more focusing on the brands that people aren't looking at, giving you a competitive advantage. And of course, make sure you learn to do this step by step rather than get stuck or sucked into this world very quickly, because this world is cutthroat and you can lose a lot of money not knowing what you're doing. So if you have no idea where to get started, there's a link in the description where you can actually learn if watch trading is for you and how anyone with $1,000 access to a post office and a computer could get started anywhere globally, right? And then for those of you that are ready and just want more support and more direct hands-on approach mentorship on how to get there, simply click the link and join Watch Trading Academy today. But of course, in the comments, make sure you let me know, first, do you want to see more content like this? And two, what is your favorite brand to trade, especially if you're a starter in the game of watches? Make sure you like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video for Watch Trading Academy.